Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one, 1-800-SERVPRO, the number one choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
Hello everyone, welcome live to 3Y TV in the final round of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown here tonight from the Paperclip. It also serves as the penultimate round in the 2020 American Sim Racing Series Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship, and it is going to be an absolute spectacular race here tonight at this half-mile racetrack. We've been looking forward to beating and banging on the short track all season long, and folks, if you're in the chat, we want to hear you here tonight, because there's nothing better than these American Esports Association drivers here around short track, because they put on a spectacular show each and every week. But like we mentioned, there's going to be two championships in play here tonight. One, the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown. The championship comes to its conclusion here tonight, and then of course we're going to crown a Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series champion next week at Phoenix International Speedway. And there are the points coming into tonight. Greg Evans has a 9-point advantage over John Jenkins. Jimmy McKee, 9 markers back, tied on points with Adam Jersky. So Greg Evans here comes into tonight with an absolute big advantage. I would say that's a big advantage at this point. I mean, definitely could turn one way or another. We'll figure out another piece in the puzzle of who will end up your series champion this season after tonight here at Martinsville. But there's going to be a long race, 200 laps here tonight. But of course, we look back to the results from last week. Tyler Seville taking the win, Greg Evans coming home in second. The big storyline last week was John Jenkins in the number 7 machine, too fast on the pit road, got that penalties and set him well down the field. You can only see 2 yellow drivers finishing inside the top 10 last week at the Texas Motor Speedway, and it was definitely one race that no one will forget here in what is already a very memorable 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. But it's definitely going to be a good one here tonight, because like I mentioned, we have to crown the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown winner here tonight. And the winner of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown is between Greg Evans and Tyler Seville, the 2 drivers who finished right up there at the top of the field last week, going to be doing battle here tonight at this racetrack. There is Greg Evans out there. And the winner of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown is going to get a steering wheel, a custom steering wheel made by Sam Maxwell, who has made many, many Sam Maxwell custom steering wheels over the years, but he has recently retired. So it's going to be very, very special for the winner of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown to walk away with one of those last Sam Maxwell custom steering wheels that are going to be out there. So big shout out to Sam Maxwell for putting that up as a series prize this year, and we're going to be interested to see who walks away with that. There's also going to be a prize for a random driver who meets a certain criteria to also get one of those Sam Maxwell custom wheels. So be interesting to see who wins that in the upcoming week. Well, currently, my partner, Greg Rentz, is not here with us just yet. We're expecting to see him turn up here shortly. He's coming in hot, if you will, for tonight's action here. And according to Mr. Carlos Acosta, who's in my ear, he sees him running here around the Paperclip. Maybe he went to get some of those famous hot dogs that you find here at this racetrack. And, of course, we'll have to figure out what the cheesecake of the race is here tonight. I'm very much looking forward to figuring out what that might be. And, of course, one of the cheesecake drivers, the number 69 of Adam Jersky himself, he's down but not out, 18 markers back behind your points leader, Greg Evans, coming into tonight. And as you can see, checkered flag now flying on the practice session. And just a quick note from the practice session, driver of the number 29 machine, Will Worsler, the Slice Porcupines race machine. He was the fastest car in practice, the only driver actually underneath a 19-second flat. And what about Adam Jersky? just mentioned his name. He was second fastest in practice with a 19.024, about a half tenth slower than the number 29 machine. And there you see his teammate Jordan Harnish working his way around the racetrack. Going to be a pretty good show here tonight of drivers. Very much looking forward to this one as we ride on board with the Beef Jerski's Cheesecakes number 32 of Jordan Harnish. Don't get him confused for the number 69 of Adam Jersky, but definitely a good look at how this racetrack is. They call it the paperclip because it looks like a paperclip from the air. Two very tight corners, not a lot of banking here, and really the preferred line tends to be right down there on the rumble strip. You can see painted red and white right down there on the bottom. We're going to see a lot of drivers probably clip that. In fact, in the practice session, I just saw a couple of drivers clipped, including the number 72 of Michael Krobach. Michael Krobach currently being scored down there 7th out of the 7 drivers to take time. Now he's going to fall down to 8th. We'll see if he can bounce back from that, but definitely not looking all too good here from Michael Krobach in the HPPsimulation.com forward. And of course, got to give a huge shout out to one of the sponsors on the back of Michael Krobach's machine. He's got spotlights on the back of it. And of course, this is the Midwest Simulations pole qualifying here for the next 8 minutes or so. And there is the fastest man in practice, Will Warsler, in that number 29 machine, working his way around the racetrack. We'll see what he can do here. See if he can jump to top on the board, who is currently helped by Jordan Harnish, who's the provisional pole sitter here with just about 2 minutes into the session. And oh, big problems there. The number 29 machine of Will Warsler having a little bit of a moment there. Now, I say that. He just jumped to top of the board. So he got his one fast lap time in there, and that's all he had to do. He's got a 6/1000th of a second gap over the number 32 of Jordan Harnish. And we'll look at Woody Mahan there in 3rd. Good lap time for him. And then you got a couple of your playoff drivers, folks. Those names in yellow here tonight: Evans, Jersky, Jenkins, and McKee. You will be able to see exactly where they are all night long because of the yellow number. And you can also see the yellow banner right there, a Hacksaw right on the top of that number 69 with that bright yellow banner, yellow spoiler, and also yellow front valence. So keep an eye on them because they are going for the Hacksaw PC prize after next week's race at Phoenix. Definitely going to be a good one. The American Regardless season finale race, and we got to figure out who is going to walk away with that Hacksaw PC prize. Yes, it is a custom PC brought to you by Hacksaw PCs. Make sure you go check them out on Facebook because definitely a big sponsor here of the American Sim Racing Series and all the drivers. So if you're looking to get your own PC or a PC upgrade, make sure you go check them out. You can see the 69 here, Jersky. He's just trying to get some more practice lap times in. And I can't blame him. You know, this is kind of free practice right now. You're out there on the racetrack. You got to focus on hitting your marks. That's one thing you always talk about here when you come to Martinsville is hitting your marks. This is a racetrack where you can find a groove. And when you do find that groove, you almost feel like you're on a rail. But as soon as you deviate from that groove, man, all of a sudden your lap times can start hurting really bad. You have to watch out for the brake bias. I'm sure a lot of these drivers here tonight already tinkering around with moving their brake bias forward, moving it back, trying to find something that suits them because as you can see, folks, you use a lot of braking around this racetrack. John Jenkins currently sitting 8th on the board. Be right on board with him here, so you can kind of see. Watch that RPM meter right there, down to about 4,600 RPM right through the center of turn number 1 and 2, up to 9,500 RPM at the end of the straightaway, and you can see it drop down again there to 4,300. So these engines really take a toll here at Martinsville because they go well down in the RPM, then they go all the way up to 9,500 RPM, and of course the brakes as well take their toll. And you can also see the lights that have recently been added to Martinsville Speedway, and I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun seeing these drivers under the lights earlier this season. And joining me in the booth now, Greg Rentz. And Greg, hopefully you brought me some of those Martinsville hot dogs up here because I'm a little hungry.
I tell you, man, there was a line down there. I was checking my clock, and realized, oh man, I got my order in time, but the problem was with how much of a line there was. Running a little bit late here today, but we made it. And I gotta tell you, that is a long climb up these Martinsville grandstand stairs to get up here to the press box. But we're here. 19 cars have qualified thus far for 200 laps here at the Martinsville Speedway. Penultimate round of the championship and the finals of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown. I'm sure you've been filling them in on everything there. As you see John Jenkins on track, just getting some qualifying times in. Man, cut it close, but got it in time.
Yeah, you can see right now Greg Evans, Adam Jersky, John Jenkins, Jimmy McKee, pretty much all inside the top 10, with the exception of McKee right there in 11th. As of right now, we only have 11 cars that have taken time here tonight, Greg, which is a bit surprising. I expected to see pretty much every car out there on the racetrack. 19 cars. I don't know what I said, Mr. Producer. My ear saying I said something wrong. So 19 cars have taken time. But like I said, I'm surprised. This is a racetrack where qualifying really does matter. You do want to start up at the front. And what we saw earlier this year here at Martinsville was a pretty rough and tumble race, Greg.
I'm wondering if that's playing a role in some of these drivers not qualifying, Peter, because if you don't qualify, you start at the end of the longest line, or in this case, you'll be starting near the back because there's several cars that have not gone out yet. I'm wondering if they're going to start in the back and just try to stay out of trouble. They're far enough back. They're hoping that they can stay away from the carnage and they can see it in plenty of time to slow down. We had 20-plus cautions back here in the spring, so that is probably weighing in some of these drivers' minds. That's why you're seeing the likes of Brian Yazik and Jay Crable, among others, not going out for their qualifying lap to just kind of hang back in the back of the field and just let the race come to them. 200 laps, long race at Martinsville. You think 200 laps and a half mile is going to click away, but if this race is anything like we saw in the spring, we could be in for a long day. And I think that's why some of these drivers have not qualified.
Yeah, I'm sure some of these drivers will be wanting to keep their cars clean. And I'll tell you what, the easiest place to keep your car nice and clean is right up at the front of the field. Let's see if we can get a quick word with your provisional pole sitter, the number 29 machine of Will Warster. We'll see if we can grab him up here into the 3Y TV booth. And let's see. Will Warster, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. You got a copy? We'll try that one more time. Will Warster, Peter Short in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy? Well, you know what? Oh, wait. Oh, is that you, Will? Will, you there? Well, I saw his name highlight as if he was here, but we'll let him get back to his. Oh, hey, there you are, man! I'll tell you what, Will. I'm not sure if you're trying to get some of those Martinsville hot dogs, but you're starting on the pole there, Will. Definitely great lap for you. You're looking for a good night tonight?
I'm looking for one. I don't know if I'll find it or not. I haven't got the comfortability that I would like to have on the long run. As you can see, I've got qualifying speed, but long run is going to be a different thing. It's going to be braking discipline, and I'm going to try to use the first half of the race to figure it out. I'm kind of wishing at this point I wasn't starting it up front, so I had time to do it. But not a lot of time with a bunch of fast guys behind you, so have to see how it works out.
So the big question I have for you, Will, is, of course, I mean, you've probably played around with brake bias, but how important is brake bias going to be here tonight for you to find that comfort level?
That's part of the TBD for me. I didn't get really much testing I got just enough to get a hot lap in. I don't know about brake bias and all that. I'm running default, and I've got a program button. I can go 3 degrees either way, so at this point, I'm thinking I may have to go upwards to add a little bit to the front if it starts feeling like it's going to be loose on entry later on in the run, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll let you get to it because the Midwest Simulations Pole qualifying has come to an end, and congratulations on winning the Midwest Simulations Pole Award.
I appreciate it, Peter.
All right, Greg. Well, you heard it there from Will himself. He's a little bit concerned about his long run stability. And Greg, that's something that we didn't see a lot of earlier this season, but definitely something to be mindful of because you and I know last week, Texas Motor Speedway, caution-free race.
Yeah, caution-free last week at Texas. That was essentially one giant long run. Where in Martinsville, when we were here, again, it was short run after short run after short run. We saw David Washington and Greg Evans trading the lead for most of that one. We'll see what happens in this one. And if we do get some of that long run speed, maybe if you're Will Worcester, who you're starting on the pole, you might not be wanting to see these long runs as the drivers are moving to the grid, Peter. So we'll be ready to go. Let's take it through the starting lineup for this big one here at Martinsville tonight.
Yeah, and starting on the pole, the number 29 machine of Will Worcester with Jordan Harnish. Great qualifying run for the Beef Jerseys Cheesecake number 32 right there on his outside. Woody Mahan on the inside of row number 3. Also fantastic qualifying run for him with Greg Evans, the first of your Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series playoff drivers, starting to his outside. He is your points leader coming into tonight. Starting just inside the top 5, the number 14 machine of A.J. Digby. Good qualifying run for him with Adam Jersky, another one of your playoff drivers, to his outside, looking for a big night here tonight, trying to bounce back from a rough start here to the playoffs. On the inside of row number 4, last week's race winner, and trying to go for the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship. Yes, it's a championship within the championship. In fact, he comes into tonight with the points lead in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown point standings. That is Tyler Seville with John Jenkins, the man who pretty much led the point standings the entire season prior to the playoffs, was on a roll before going into Texas Motor Speedway last week, but the wheels fell off. He will be starting on the outside of row number 4. Alan Young and Tim Knott round out your top 10.
The fourth and final playoff driver in the field here tonight will be Jimmy McKee in the number 8 and 11th, with Michael Whiting in the 12. Sam Crow and Kelsey Rogers are making up row number 7. Cody Spiker and Troy Haight back in the field tonight after kind of missing some races in the second half of the season. Richard Stallings in the 17 starts 17th with Jay Crable in the 87. Final 2 cars to take time, Peter, were Michael Krobach and Jason Stewart.
Brian Yazik in the 55 HPPSimulation.com Ford will be starting in 21st. Mark Myers will start to his outside in 22nd. John Van Varellis, Richard Fletcher on row number 12, and rounding out your 25 car field here tonight at Martinsville for the 200 lap event, J.R. Batch. Big question here that we will answer here tonight will be, who will win the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown? Will it be Tyler Seville? Will it be Greg Evans? Currently, advantage Greg Evans in qualifying, but we have 200 laps to find out. Will Worcester, 29, comes out of turn number 4. Green flag in the flagman's hand, and there it is. Green flag here at Martinsville. 200 laps. This is going to be a good one as they dive off into turn number 1 for the first time. Will Worcester has the preferred inside groove. He's going to take the race lead. They get single file back behind him. All of a sudden, Greg Evans now up into 3rd. He's able to pick up a spot here on the race start. Good start there by that number 2 as Mahan now slips back a spot. And look at Adam Jersky back there trying to go to the outside of the number 14 of Digby.
As they roll into the backstretch, 1 lap already in the books. Will Worcester leads it. There you see Tyler Seville, last week's winner of Texas, and your Wheelman Showdown points leader, brought to you by SERVPRO, looking to lock up a wheel courtesy of Sam Maxwell Customs, trying to get it done. He has to finish in front of Greg Evans to lock it up here tonight. But Peter, that's easier said than done, especially when you factor in that Greg Evans finished 2nd here in the spring. The driver that beat him, not in the field, but we already have our first caution of the day.
First caution is out, and there's the number 44 of Michael Whiting, the Brookside Equipment Sales Machine. A little bit of a different look on that number 44 this week. We'll go back and see exactly what happened to him here in the early going. I know Michael Whiting usually has a couple fans in the chat. Here we go, going off into turn number 3. And right behind the number 5 is Sam Crow. Let's see if we can see. I think it happened down here in turn number 1 and 2. And we'll see what happened here. Oh, might have got a little bit of help from the number 34 there of Kelsey Rogers.
So contact in the early stages, and boy, polar opposite way to start this one after last week's caution-free race in Texas. Only took us 3 laps to get a caution. We take one more look at it right there. Possibly some netcode there as well, Peter, from that angle.
Yeah, but that will bring out the first caution flag here tonight. And unfortunately for Michael Whiting, he's going to drop from 13th all the way back to 25th after that contact. Here we go on board with, I think, Jay Crable. And let's keep an eye out front. And okay, there's the wreck. There's the wreck. Oh, we're just gonna go down there onto the grass. How about that? That's one way to get past the accident. Just drop down below it.
So under caution here for the first time. Nice job by them to get through that. Unfortunately, we're off to kind of the same start we saw in the spring. Definitely not what we wanted to see. Lights still on the pace truck. Worsler is going to be happy about that, though, because he said he wasn't sure about the long run speed of that number 29 car. If you can get short run after short run after short run, Worsler might be sitting pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. He's currently up at the front. Time to check out the chat. Who we got over here tonight? We got Aunt Kathy. How's it going, Aunt Kathy? Hopefully you're doing well. The DMLC Racing channel in the chat. And Nikki Worsler rooting on Will Worsler Racing from her grandson's ball game. Hopefully your grandson's team wins, and hopefully Will is able to win here tonight, or at least one of the Will Worsler Racing machines will be able to win here tonight, at least for your sake. That would be nice, kind of a double win. Hopefully you're not shouting too much during the race, and I'm sure everyone in the crowd will look at you with a strange face, but you know, whatever floats your boat. Hopefully you're enjoying your evening here on 3 Wide TV, as well as the pace truck lights have turned off, so that's the good news. We're about to get set to go back to green flag here on lap number 8 here in just a second. Will Worsler so far led every single lap, was your Midwest Simulations Pole Award winner. Now the green flag going to fly once more, and he's already on the loud pedal here, Greg. And one thing we're going to have to keep an eye on here tonight, wheel spin on these restarts. We saw it rear its head earlier this season here at Martinsville, and here tonight. So far, pretty fresh tires. Don't expect to see a lot of wheel spin, but as the tires wear, we'll expect to see more and more of that wheel spin as Worsler back out front.
We talked to AJ Digby. A fuel run here, if you stay green, is 140 to 150 laps, although he said he was pretty much convinced that was not going to happen here tonight. But the tires is going to be the difference maker in this one here, Peter. How do they hold up on these restarts, and what's the longest run we get? I mean, we're 3 laps into that first one. We're coming up on lap 3 of this run here as you go on board. Tyler Seville to the inside. I believe this is on board Adam Dursky. Yes, it is. Number 69, again, sporting pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month this month of October, and he's in the championship 4. Got the yellow banner on, but another playoff driver right behind him, Jimmy McKee in the number 8, the McKee Lawn Care Chevy, trying to get up there and make some noise. McKee and Jersky, those are the two that need a big run here tonight to help them out in the playoffs, because Jenkins and Evans have been very, very strong. Jenkins, of course, with a win in the finals opener. Jersky and McKee, you're watching them now. Those are the drivers that need a big run tonight.
Yeah, they come into tonight tied on points, and they're trying to get third in the point standings because there is a payout difference. For third place in points. So it's, you know, even if they go into next week with a very outside shot at the championship, they can still battle for that third position or the second position, because there is money on the line here in the American Sim Racing Series. There's actually a very big prize pool this year. I mentioned the Hacksaw PC that the champion's going to get, but also the Sam Maxwell Customs wheel winner for the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown. So there's a lot of money that goes around here in the American Sim Racing Series, and there's a lot to contend for. Last week, Greg, we saw a $200 payout at the Texas Motor Speedway. How about that for a caution-free race? That was absolutely massive that the series put up, and we got that caution-free race finally coming last week. But speaking of caution-free, we've already had one caution here tonight, and now we have caution flag number 2.
Here, and it might be Woody Mahan in the 84. Oh, no. Kelsey Rogers, the 34, was getting it going again. Let's take a look and see what happened here on the 3 Wide TV replay.
And Kelsey Rogers, your winner from Bristol, there he is spun around. We'll go back a little bit more and see if we can see exactly what happens here, going off into turn number 3 here. Oh, I don't know if there was any help there, or it looked like just a little bit too much rear brake and just snapped on him. And that will be a second caution flag here tonight. Definitely not the start Kelsey Rogers was looking for.
Yeah, especially after getting a win at the previous short track race, Bristol. a few weeks ago. That's Mark Myers behind him, you see, and yeah, just too much rear brake. Lost it all by himself there. Unfortunate that this short track race definitely not going the way he wanted it to, especially after the win at Bristol last week. On pit road to get some tires changed. Jay Crable maybe getting some damage repaired on the 87. Remember, Peter, tire limits in effect in the ASRS, Hacksaw PC's Premier Series. So these drivers got to be careful when they change those tires.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't want to change your tires too early because that might come back to bite you later on in the race. Although we have seen, that work out for some drivers, namely John Jenkins back at Richmond, where he pitted a little bit early, and of course that was a short track race. So, it is a strategy call. It always is a strategy call, and it is great to see the different strategies here in this series play out throughout a race and really throughout the season. We've come to find out which drivers decide to, roll the dice a little bit more than others, and which drivers decide to play it safe. So definitely been a fantastic season, and I've really enjoyed that element that the tire limits has brought this season. I know we got a little bit of a flavor of it last year, and in one of the exhibition races that they ran, but this year has been absolutely stellar. Now folks, I do want to give an update. Kelsey Rogers in the number 34 machine, he has taken his car to the garage and will be the first retirement here tonight. But the Chevy Silverado pace truck right there at the front of the field, lights are off once again, so we're going to get set to go back to green flag racing. We do have a couple other people joining us in the chat here tonight, Jared Haggerty, as well as Christopher Bouchard. Haggerty, of course, rooting on Dirty Bird Sim Racing, Stuart Knott, and Christopher Bouchard rooting on Momentum Sim Racing and the number 7 machine of John Jenkins. Pace truck headed down pit road. The 29 of Will Worcester going to get us back to the green flag. He's bringing us down very, very slowly, just waiting to see the green flag fly. And there it is, the 29 machine of Will Worcester once again out to a big jump. Now we're going to watch this battle for second. Greg Evans, he's already picked himself up from 4th. Now he's up to 2nd from the start of the race.
Next move by Evans to get up to 2nd place, getting right up on the back bumper of Will Worcester. We've seen this a couple times this season, Peter. Worcester and Evans battling it out. Hasn't always gone the way we wanted to either. There's been some tempers getting ruffled, some feathers getting flung around, and all in all, just hasn't always been friendly between these two on track. So we'll have to see what happens, especially at a track like Martinsville, where we are known to see that happen at some points. Cough, cough, Matt Kenseth, cough, cough. I don't think we're going to see any of that like this tonight, but you never know. As you see battles going on, McKee has gotten around Jersky. That's big because playoff positioning, every point counts for those two right now, as McKee trying to get inside of Alan Young. And Peter, Alan Young has been so strong on the short tracks, and there's been several times this season we thought Alan Young was going to get that breakthrough for that first win. Still has yet to come, but could come tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. That number 24 machine has been nice and fast. I thought that he was going to go to Victory Lane a couple weeks ago when we were at Rockingham Speedway, because he was very, very quick there. And now we go on board with the number 2 machine, Greg Evans, just poking a nose to the inside of the 29 machine of Will Worcester. Remember, Evans, who has so many wins to his name this year. He's in double digits, folks. He's trying to pick up yet another one here tonight. And Greg, one thing we've highlighted is Greg Evans, you have to go quite a ways back since he last won. But he's so far put together 2 really good races in the first 2 races of the final round of the Hacksaw PC playoffs, and finds himself the points leader coming into tonight. Now, just a couple of positions in front of John Jenkins. In fact, Jenkins now has slid back to 10th from his 8th place starting position. So again, Greg Evans at this point would grow that points lead quite a bit.
Evans trying to get away, keep as many cars between himself and John Jenkins as he can. And Peter, it's big because Jenkins is currently being scored as the final playoff driver. He's in 10th. All 4 playoff drivers in the top 10, but a caution's out. This is going to help out the 7 car, as Richard Stallings in the 17 is nosed up into the wall.
Yeah, that number 17 machine hard up into the wall. We'll see exactly what happened here going off into turn number 1. And is this going to be the same thing we saw with Kelsey Rogers? Yeah, just too much rear brake, went up the racetrack, tried to save. Oh, man, he almost had it saved there. And then it just hooked on him right there at the last second. Doesn't look like a whole lot of damage on that number 17. That's the good news. The bad news is he's going to lose all that track position. And now be down in the 24th position. Let's go on board with him here, Greg, and let's see if we can hear some wheel hop out of that car. I didn't hear any there. I think it just stepped out under braking.
So we've seen that a couple of times already tonight, and Stallings is going to take, I believe, one more look at this. Nope, this is back live under caution. Stallings, the latest victim of wheel spin. So you're off to a little bit of a cleaner start than we were at the spring race here. We're already on lap number 29 of 200 here tonight, where it seemed like in the spring we only got about 5 laps in per green flag run. We got a pretty nice run in there on our second green flag run before this one. Forster leading the way, has led all of them thus far, but Greg Evans is in second in the 2. Jordan Harnish, Tyler Seville, last week's winner at Texas, already up 3 spots from the 7th spot. Looks to me, Peter, that the biggest mover so far is one of those drivers that did not qualify and started at the back. Brian Yazik for Loud Pedal Motorsports is already up into the top 15 after starting 21st.
Yeah, and we saw that out of Brian Yazik last week at the Texas Motor Speedway as well, where he elected not to qualify and then all of a sudden crept up there near the front of the field. And really, if Yazik had qualified, because that was a caution-free race, I think he would have walked away with a better finish than he even got. So that number 55, he's working his way up. A lot more cautions already than last week, because last week we didn't have a single one at the Texas Motor Speedway. Right now, currently working it's going to be caution number 3 here on lap number 30. The DMLC Racing channel asking about wheel hop. Yeah, might be some wheel hop. Also hearing some shifting. Yeah, I kind of noticed recently in iRacing that shifting is becoming a more common occurrence. I'm not 100% sure exactly what has changed, but especially with the 1987 cars and these modern Cup cars, it might just be the low horsepower, Greg, but they tend to be shifting a lot more. And speaking of shifting, they're going to be shifting up through the gears here because they're about to go back green.
Have to see if we can pay attention to who's shifting and who's not. Worcester gets a nice jump there off of turn number 4, takes the green flag, gets right up in front of Evans before Evans can even think about getting a run. How about Jordan Harnish in the 32? He didn't run all the races this year, but it seems like he knows what to do at the short tracks to be able to get up there and compete, as here he is in 3rd right now in the Beef Jerseys Cheesecakes number 32. Harnish has always been a very strong competitor on the short tracks. Tonight, no exception.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And definitely showing what he's made of here tonight, winning in the 3rd position. Had that great lap time in qualifying just a little bit ago. First side-by-side battles between Woody Mahan and the number 24 machine.
Ooh.
As you see Cody Spiker there and Tim Knott continue to do battle here down the front stretch. Definitely getting a little bit close there in the corner. And look who's right behind him. That's Brian Yazik. We just mentioned his name as back up at the front. The number 2 machine just once again showing a nose to the 29 of Worcester.
He had a really good run off of turn 2 a couple laps ago, and Worcester threw a block, Peter. I've been watching this battle for the lead, and Evans had a run right here off of turn number 2. Here it is again, going to get a move to the bottom. This time, Worcester's going to give him the lane, and Evans is going to get the nose in front. So Greg Evans has tried that move a couple of times over the last few laps, able to make it work there. Big slide out of Harnish behind him, but look at the run on corner exit that Worcester got. You don't see that very often in Martinsville. Whoa, what happened to the 32 of Harnish there? He went way up the track, and Tyler Seville, last week's winner, is going to be able to pounce and move up onto the podium.
And remember, Tyler Seville comes into tonight as the points leader in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Challenge. That number 11, great start for him. He's worked his way up. I think started just around the 11th position or so, now up into 3rd. He's going to try and track down his boss, Will Worcester himself. A couple of those sliced porcupine machines now inside the top 5 as he was able to take that opportunity to get around the 32. I don't know if Harnish just overshot the entry, whether or not he had the brakes lock up like we've seen happen to a couple of the others. But definitely Harnish shot up the racetrack. Greg Evans, your new race leader. Only the 2nd time we've seen a different leader here tonight. So definitely here in the early going, Will Wurzler, the dominant car, but Greg Evans now up front, pretty much single file now throughout the entire field. In fact, I don't see anyone making a move on anyone just yet, and that tends to happen here at the Paperclip, Greg. I mean, this racetrack, it is the Paperclip for a reason. You know, it's shaped, but you tend to get single file, you tend to block, you tend not to run side by side because the racetrack is pretty one grooved. You want to be right down there by that red and white stripe that we're seeing these drivers out there running.
And it's always been that way, Peter. This has always been a typical one groove racetrack, which is why the bump and run, which has actually been a topic of discussion in the iRacing realms here today and earlier in the week, as the official iRacing series are also at Martinsville this week for Cup cars, Xfinity cars, and the trucks. They're all at Martinsville this week in the official racing servers. So the bump and run has been a point of conversation all week in the realms of iRacing here, talking about this very track with that bump and run. We may see it tonight because of the fact that it is a one group racetrack, as Digby may have caught the wall a little bit. That number 8 of Jimmy McKee is slowly creeping his way up here, Peter. He just got around Digby for 5th. So AJ Digby falls to 6th. Jimmy McKee in the 8th has suddenly cracked the top 5.
Yeah, good job there by Jimmy McKee to continue working his way up forward. You know, he qualified down there in the 11th spot, I think it was. And now plus 6 spots now into 5th. He's gotten around AJ Digby, who's dropped a spot from the start. And how about Alan Young? Keeping that 24 machine up there. Let's highlight some of our other playoff drivers. Currently, Adam Jersky running right in front of the number 7 of John Jenkins in the number 7 Super Clean Toyota. And now here comes a 24, Alan Young trying to make a move underneath AJ Digby. This is a battle for position. This is for a 6th spot here down the front stretch. Looks like Alan Young going to have the preferred line here going off into the corner. And as I say that, caution flag waves here at Martinsville once again. We'll see if we can see what happened. Oh, there's the 04 of Mark Myers, who appears to have gone around in turn number 3 and 4. Let's go back and see this one on the replay, Greg.
Taking a look here at the three-wide replay. Little squirrely. Nice save initially before snapping back around. Nice job by Krobach to get through that as well in the 72. Another one of those Loud Pedal Motorsports drivers, Michael Krobach. Let's take another look at that.
Yeah, oh man, this is going to be close with Michael Krobach. Yeah, the 04 looks like he just got in too hot, and then just as he turned back up the racetrack, very, very close to picking up the Loud Pedal Motorsports number 72 of Krobach. It hasn't been the day that Krobach was looking for so far as we go on board with the HVPsimulation.com Ford. Let's see the 04. There he is, gets into the corner, back end breaks loose, and oh man, that's about as close as you can get, folks, without a totaled race car. And definitely Michael Krobach probably need some fresh underwear after that. But we got some takers on pit road, and look at this. About half the field elected to stay out. In fact, more than half the field, I think, elected to stay out. But we got the number 2 of Greg Evans, AJ Digby, Tyler Seville, Sam Crow, Troy Haight, and Jason Stewart all headed down their pit box. So the top 18 cars here, Greg, electing to stay out. I'm a bit surprised by that. I'm sure they saw the leaders come down pit road and they said, you know what, I got to do something different. At this point of the race, they don't have a whole lot of green flag laps on those tires. In fact, let's see if we can bring up the current race summary down there so we can actually do the math and figure out how many green flag laps they actually do have. So 4 caution flags, 15 laps of those cautions have been under the yellow flag. And so we're going to do the math. That's 33 green flag laps on their tires. So
my brain hurts.
Well, you know, sometimes you just have to do a little bit of math when you're racing. And I'll tell you what, when you're these race car drivers and you're doing math on the fly, trying to do fuel calculations in the back of your head and trying to figure out whether or not you're saving enough, that's where it starts to get interesting, folks. But there's the number 69 machine of Adam Jersky, and we have a return of everyone's favorite segment this week, the cheesecake of the week. And we'll have to figure out what that cheesecake of the week is here in just a little bit, because we're about to go back to green. But folks, make sure you stick around for this week's Cheesecake of the Week. And man, speaking of cheesecake, number 32 of Jordan Harnish, he is currently second outside of Will Worcester, who got the lead back because Greg Evans came down and pitted. Where is Greg Evans, you ask? Well, he's down in 18th for this restart. Green flag waves once again here at Martinsville, and you can possibly see a little bit of wiggle out of the back of the number 8 machine. That's the wheel spin that we talked about just a little bit ago. He's going to drop back a couple positions. Adam Jersky now knocking. Oh, Cody Spiker in the 19 machine is around. That's another car getting involved. The 4 of JR Bash. Is that Michael Krobach? It is Michael Krobach.
Doesn't make it this time.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Must feel like he has a bullseye on that race car. Let's see if we can see what happens here. This is actually right behind John Jenkins, one of the playoff drivers. Was that Richard Fletcher there, maybe giving him a little bit of a nudge?
May have been Tim Knott, because Fletcher's back there. Saw Tim Knott trying to get through. Let's take another look at that.
So we'll go on board. There's the front
Fletcher
end of Fletcher.
and Knott both right there. Knott goes by on the outside, and yep, some contact with Fletcher, and Knott almost got a piece of that as well. Nice job by Tim Knott to get through that.
And what about some of the playoff drivers? I mean, Greg Evans, he was back there in the pack, you know, because he had just come down and got those fresh tires. He must have had his hands full when he saw everyone start to check up. In fact, I'm getting word that Greg Evans might actually have a little bit of rear end damage on the number 2 Sure Tape Chevrolet. Here we go on board with him. Running right behind JR Bash, and Bash was one of the drivers collected into that. Here he goes down to the bump side. There's Sam Crow right behind him, and yep, that's a lot of Sam Crow right in the 3-wide TV camera. So definitely a little bit of rear end damage to the number 2. You can see that rear spoiler is just a little bit askew. I don't think that's going to affect him a whole lot. Maybe a little bit of front end damage as well. And of course, Greg Evans coming into tonight. Yeah, coming into tonight as your points leader. Definitely going to be interesting to see how that pans out for him.
Yeah, it would be the front end damage of that number 2 that would be the concern. But Peter, we talked about it a little bit at the last caution. You are indeed correct. It is the return of the Greg Rentz Cheesecake of the race. Now, Peter, notice both the 69 and the 32, the beef jerky cheesecake cars. What color are they?
I'd say they're pink.
And, you know, there's a little thing that mostly happens in the summer, but I feel like we all got robbed of what the summer of 2020 could be with everything that happened. So I'm going to bring a little bit of summer to the fall and the October and November with a little bit of pink for breast cancer awareness, because tonight's cheesecake of the race is pink lemonade cheesecake, a summer treat typical for the months of June and July, but we didn't quite get a summer this year with everything that happened. So pink lemonade cheesecake, this week's Greg Rentz Cheesecake of the race.
I'll tell you what, I'd go for a piece of that pink lemonade cheesecake with one of these Martinsville hot dogs. Definitely sounds like a fantastic pairing, one that I'd like to try, and definitely going to be an interesting one. I've never really had pink lemonade cheesecake before, but with that being said, you've never had pink lemonade?
No, I said, have you ever had pink lemonade?
Oh, yeah.
That's a staple. That's a summer staple.
I've just never had it in cheesecake form.
I'm going to have to change that. Here we go. Lights off on the pace truck. Pace truck is in, which means it must be time to go back racing.
I was watching this restart. There was a big snack up back there around John Van Varellis. That's where you see that big gap develop. Meanwhile, up at the front, the 32 of Jordan Harnish, he's going to drop down in front of the 24 of Alan Young. Look at Alan Young starting to make some noise now up inside the top 3. Good job for him so far. McKee now going to slide back into 4th. Then you got the first side-by-side battle between Jersky and Mahan. That's a battle for the 5th position. Now we have to keep an eye on drivers like Greg Evans, AJ Digby, and a couple of the others who elected to come down and take tires a little bit ago. Remember, they used one of their sets of tires here tonight, Greg. That might come back to bite them as the race goes on, especially because we're seeing caution flag after caution flag after caution flag. Now they don't have the opportunity to use that fresh set of tires that these other drivers still have sitting on pit road.
Yeah, track position is so key at this racetrack, especially after what we saw in the spring, Peter. If I was a gambling man, if I was on top of the pit box, which I am not, so by no means would I call this the winning strategy. I would just say this is how my mind would be working to this. I think take one pit stop right around the halfway point, and I think you'd have enough time to try to fight your way back through with everything that happens. I think one pit stop right around the halfway point of this race would be my strategy if I was the one calling the shots. But then again, that's just me. I'm not sure exactly how that would turn out, but that's what I'm thinking I would do.
Well, I'm watching the names on the left-hand side of your screen because the number 2 of Greg Evans on those fresh tires, he's starting to move up through the field. He just got around the number 11 of Tyler Seville, one of the other drivers who recently came down pit road. We go on board with him right here, right behind Brian Yazik, biggest mover in the field, and the number 55 HPPsimulation.com Ford. And definitely Greg Evans using those fresh tires to his advantage. He's just going to drop to the inside at the number 55. And he's going to make that pass here going off into turn number 3. Well, I thought he was going to, but now kind of held up behind Woody Mahan. Now he's going to get underneath Woody Mahan. Those fresh tires on the number 2 machine definitely making quick use of the field. Now he's up to 7th behind all of your other playoff drivers. Look at that, Greg. 4th through 7th right now.
And ask for anything better than that. McKee, Jersky, and Jenkins, and now Evans trying to make his way back up through the field and get to the inside of John Jenkins. This battle right here, the 2 and the 7, these two drivers have been your 2 big dogs in the series all year long. Jenkins was Mr. Consistency in the regular season and into the playoffs. Some big wins for him late in the playoffs. Caution is out once again, but Greg Evans, polar opposite of that, 10 wins on the season as the number 4 of JR Bash, we believe, has brought out the caution here tonight. We're past the 1/4 of the way mark, as let's take a look at the 3-wide TV replay. What happened with JR Bash? Oh no, it was Fletcher into number 48. Bash got a piece of it there, but 43 of Richard Fletcher, my apologies. That's what brought out the caution. Let's take a look back here. You see Spiker, there's Krobach.
Man, Krobach has just been in the epicenter of everything here tonight in that Ford.
And none of it his doing.
No, that time right there, Fletcher just looks like he broke loose coming out of turn number 2, got on the loud pedal a little bit too soon, went for a 360, hit the inside wall, and unfortunately nowhere for JR Bash to go. Now we're going to see the rest of the drivers come down pit road who were not on pit road last time, led by the number 29 machine of Will Worcester. Now, I say that, looks like we still have a couple of drivers staying out there. Jordan Harnish and Adam Jersky, true drivers who have elected to stay out there on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Will Worcester, Richard Stallings, Alan Young, Jimmy McKee, John Jenkins, JR Bash, Crable, Whiting, Van Varellis all coming down. And you know what? We still have more. So drivers who have not come down pit road here tonight, folks, write these down. You probably can't write them fast enough. But the 32, Jordan Harnish, Adam Jersky, they're 1-2 right now. And remember, Jersky's one of those playoff drivers. Greg Evans, he is in 30. He has come down and taken tires. And then similar with Tyler Seville. Woody Mahan sitting in 5th. He has not taken any tires yet. Then Brian Yazik, Tim Knott running 8th and 9th. They haven't pitted yet. Mark Myers, Cody Spiker, Michael Krobach. They're running 12th, 13th, and 14th. They have not come down pit road here tonight. So different strategies here tonight at Martinsville. I expected nothing less. We're going to take a brief step away, play a quick commercial. Be right back here from the Paperclip of Martinsville.
Every day in business.
Welcome to Sliced Pizza Bar, where we're passionate about great pizza. All of our food is made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients and techniques. Our chefs put their heart and soul into each pie, and we're sure you'll taste the difference. Located on both the Indian Rocks and Madeira beaches, chances are we're right around the corner for your next pizza night or dinner date. Come give us a try.
All right, folks, welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. Green flag flying. You didn't miss anything. The number 32 machine right there, Jordan Harnish out front. Man, I'm having a tough time here tonight making out the 32 and the number 69, but here comes Greg Evans on those fresher tires, just going to drop down to the inside of the number 32 and take the race lead. Here comes Tyler Seville. He's also been on pit road recently. He's going to try and take that spot from the number 32, rolling the bottom of the racetrack. And there you go. Just like that, the number 32 of Harnish is going to fall back to third. And what about the number 69 of Adam Jersey? He's saving that set of tires on pit road for the last half of the race. Look at Woody Mahan and the number 1. They make contact there coming out of turn number 4. That is currently a battle around the 5th position. Stewart holding on to that 5th position, but Woody Mahan wants it. And keeping my eyes on this battle, Stewart came down pit road 24 laps ago or so. So he must be on fresher tires, and he's just going to use that high line to get around Mahan there into the top 5. And here comes AJ Digby. I know he's been on pit road here in the first 71 laps. He's using those fresh tires to go around the outside. But Greg, Woody Mahan's not making it easy for these drivers trying to get their way to the top 5.
Now remember, Woody Mahan was the first driver out of the playoffs, but he has run strong, and as we talk about it, the commentator, he gets loose off of 4. Nice job there by Mahan to keep it all together and keep the damage minimized there, as Yazik now has problems in the 55, his Loud Pedal Motorsports teammate. Not a good couple of laps there for Loud Pedal Motorsports, as both Mahan and Yazik have issues here in this one. They get things settled down for the time being. They're going to settle in 10th and 12th respectively after both being up in the top 10. But Peter, notice on the ticker, look who's 1-2 right now. Greg Evans and Tyler Seville. Those two, they are the two that it was down to for the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown. They're 1-2 in that championship race for that. They're 1-2 on the track right now, and both cars have rear end damage, I'm noticing.
Yeah, they both got that at the same time. And folks, if you're wondering how big of an advantage Tyler Seville has in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship coming into tonight, 2 points. So hardly anything separating these top 2, both out there on the racetrack right now and in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown point standings. Definitely both of these drivers want to pick up that Sam Maxwell Customs wheel, as we see AJ Digby battling with the number 1 of Jason Stewart. And now Stewart stuck out there on that high groove. He's going to get shuffled back, and here comes the number 7 of John Jenkins. He pitted at the same time as, whoa, contact between Jenkins and AJ Digby. Very, very close between them, and Digby had to get up out of the groove, and that's going to open the door for the number 8 of Jimmy McKee here. So what we're starting to see here, Greg, is the freight train start to happen. Cars get shuffled up to the outside groove, and then they start to drop back through the field, and that's where AJ Digby is right now. Just can't get back down as well. Wow, that's the number 1 machine. Jason Stewart going for a slide. He's going to gather it back up. No caution, but he's going to lose a ton of track position right there.
Stewie having a big slide off of turn number 2. Gathers it back up. Let's take another look at the 3Y TV replay and see what happened to that silver and red number 1 right there, just snapping loose there at the Toyota Camry. Snapping loose, he hangs onto it, but he falls back to 16th after being up in the top 10 when that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Now back up at the front, Greg Evans and Tyler Seville have scooted away from the number 29 of Will Worsler, but Worsler has been the fastest car on the racetrack last couple of laps, and now that he's got clean air, he is definitely starting to reel in the front too. We'll see if we can bring up the last lap times, because last time by, Will Worsler took off about 0.3 of a second, and remember he pitted about 10 to 15 laps later than Greg Evans and Tyler Seville. So I think what we're starting to see here tonight, Greg, and there you can see it, about 3.5 last time by. We'll see what it's like this time by, and wow, even more that time by, half a second. Tires really mattering here tonight at Martinsville.
Tires are going to be crucial, and that's why I'm keeping my eye on Harnish and Jersky, the Beef Jersky's Cheesecake teammates there, to see what they might be thinking on tire wear. They have yet to come down pit road. I'm wondering if we're going to see them on the next caution, regardless of when that is.
And you know what they're probably thinking is, man, you know what, I just want this to go green for probably another maybe 10, 15 laps or so they will have a pretty big advantage over some of these cars like Greg Evans and Tyler Seville. Here comes Worsler, just going to dive to the inside of Tyler Seville. Seville makes it easy for the number 29, and just like that, Will Worsler, your pole sitter here tonight, winning the Midwest Simulations Pole Award. Going to get up to second, but as you can see, yellow lights around the racetrack once again. Cody Spiker in the number 19 as something happened to him. There's a lot of front end damage, but we saw that front end damage a little bit ago. Right in front of the number 72 of Michael Krobach. How about that here, Greg? And just getting out of it and getting out of the groove, spinning around. And once again, I'm not sure if the 72 of Krobach has laser guns or something out the front of this Ford or something, but definitely seems like he's shooting something for these cars to spin around.
Well, we apologize to anybody in the chat and offer our condolences to anyone taking the Michael Krobach miss a caution drinking game tonight, because they're already 4 into that one. Here they come. Peter Jersky and Harnish, as well the Loud Pedal boys. Mahan, Yazik, there's Krobach. You see Tim Knott, Troy Haight down there. I believe I see Michael Whiting, Cody Spiker. Yep, so more cars coming down pit road. And this is the interesting part, because these guys are going to have a lot fresher tires than that first group of cars that came out. The thing is, though, now we're starting to get into the ballpark where that first group of cars that pitted, they might start thinking about coming down pit road again to get those fresh tires for the run to the finish. We're on lap 85 of 200 here. If you were in that first group, Peter, who pitted right around lap 50 or so, when do you come in for that final set of tires?
Man, that's a tough question. I mean, I think from what we were seeing here, you can get through the field in about 30 laps if you have about 30 lap fresher tires than everyone. So, I'm thinking probably 35 laps to go, 40 laps to go. If you get a caution around then, that's when I think you will head down pit road. Now, we will always see some people do things differently and throw the dice. But I think right now, 30 laps to go. If you get a caution, you want that last set of fresh tires to be put on right around then. And we'll see how that works out for a lot of the field here tonight, because we saw Greg Evans make quick work of the field, getting his way up to the front when he was on about 30, 40 lap fresher tires. Because remember, we did the math before here, Greg, and he was shot out like a cannon. Now, here's the big thing, because Greg Evans now has 40 laps on those tires. They're not all green flag laps, but now you have drivers like Jordan Harnish and Adam Jersky. They're going to be restarting here 16th and 17th on this restart, a little bit further back in the pack. How long will it take them to get up to the front? I think that is going to be the key indicator of when you want to take your final pit stop here tonight.
See how long that takes. The numbers are flying through everybody's head right now. Definitely do not envy those on the top of the toolboxes right now and the ones making that decision for these drivers. And we noticed that some of the Will Worsler boys were on different strategies as Worsler and Seville came down for different pit stops. So that's going to be an interesting one to see if they get back on the same strategy for this one. And look who's up to 4th on this restart, Peter. John Jenkins has quietly made his way up into the top 5 now as the green flag falls back in the air with Greg Evans leading the way.
A little bit of a wiggle out the back of the number 7 of John Jenkins as we get back to green flag racing. Remember, the 2nd through 4th place, they have, 2nd and 4th, not Tyler Seville. 2nd and 4th have fresher tires than the number 2 of Greg Evans. How long will it be until the number 29 is knocking on the door, going for the race lead right where he started here tonight? Says he wasn't too excited about his long run pace here tonight. He definitely has a lot of short run pace, showing it again here. Trying to get past the number 2 with those slightly fresher tires. Now, what about a couple of the drivers further back? Jordan Harnish, Adam Jersky, they're still stuck in 15th and 16th. They're not starting to make too big of a move. Jersky now going to make the pass for 14th. But we'll keep an eye on them as they work their way through the ticker on the left-hand side of the screen. But up at the front, still Greg Evans leading the way. But look at Worsler there, just trying a slightly different line as the number 19 at Cody Spiker has taken his car to the garage here tonight. But here comes the 7 of Jenkins trying to take that spot away from Seville.
Gets to the inside of Seville, gets the spot from Seville, so move Jenkins to 3rd. He's going to bring Jimmy McKee with him in at number 8. Great run for Jimmy McKee. We said he needed it. He did it at Texas last week, got a big run for himself last week at Texas. He's following it up here in that number 8. He's going to be in striking position if something happens to either Evans or Jenkins in front of him. In 4th right now, nicely done by Jimmy McKee to get back up there. Look at this, the battle heating up again. Evans, Forsler, Jenkins has caught up. Jimmy McKee is caution is out.
Caution flag is out here. Let's see what happened. The number 4 of JR Bash there, a little bit slow. Was JR Bash involved in an incident here? Here we go, coming out of turn number 2. Got the 41 of Tim Knott back behind him. And was there contact? Yes, looks like there was. Tim Knott and JR Bash getting together and bashing the wall with the back end of that number 4 Chevy Camaro. Looks like he will have to come down pit road for some repairs. But we'll get another look at this one, Greg.
Take another look at it, this time from the blimp. See Tim Knott and JR Bash go into turn 3, and yeah, Knott was already there and had a little too much speed to be able to check up there when Bash began his turn. I think it's just a racing deal, 2 guys fighting over the same piece of real estate. We'll go on board with Tim Knott. We'll see if he's going to get to the bottom right here, and then all of a sudden, they're coming together.
And I would like an onboard with the number 72 of Michael Krobach. Once again, this all happens right in front of the number 72 of Michael Krobach. So if people at home are drinking that game, they're just going to go another shot deep here.
Rip to the livers.
There you go, right in front of Michael Krobach once again. Good news is, doesn't look like there's any further damage on that number 72. Definitely doesn't seem like Krobach quite has the race car here tonight. He's back on pit road right now in his Ford Mustang. Just trying to get a little bit of that damage repaired once again. He's going to beat the pace car off. But there is your race leader, Greg Evans. And man, I'm surprised, Greg, that he was able to hold on to the race lead, because we saw the 29 machine of Will Warser really closing in up to a half-second faster a lap. But Evans holding on to that lead under that little short green flag run. But now Warser's got to start thinking about who's in his rearview mirror as well. It's the number 7 of John Jenkins. And I know Jenkins definitely has shown a lot of pace here this season. And he showed a lot of pace here at Martinsville when we were here earlier in the year.
Yeah, Jenkins had a lot of speed at Martinsville. Remember, the spring winner of that race, David Washington, is not in the field tonight, so we're not going to see a Martinsville sweep this season. We have a shot at getting a new winner. Hey, Peter, we haven't talked about this yet here tonight. There's a little bit of incentive on the line for some of these drivers here at Martinsville tonight. Remember, series officials made a deal with these drivers. If 25% or less, I believe that was the number, of the laps were run under caution tonight, next year's 2021 Hacksaw PC's Premier Series would have one extra short track in place of a 1.5 mile track. So these drivers have some incentive for some clean racing here tonight, especially after what happened in the spring. We're getting kind of close to that buffer, so we're going to see or need to see a green flag run go pretty long here to be able to do it. But these drivers have some incentive on the line if they like short track racing to be the name of the game next year. We may see it if they can reach that goal tonight.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have a much cleaner second half of the race, as the first 35% of the race or so has been run under the yellow flag. Mitch Brown in the chat saying, hey, what about the AA 400, the All-American 400 here, hosted by the American Sim Racing Series? If you're interested in that, it's a super late model race at Nashville Fairgrounds here, the oldest running sim race in the whole world. Go check them out, American Sim Racing Series website. But we are back to green flag here at Martinsville, and Greg Evans shot out like a cannon, and that's going to pull the number 7 of John Jenkins up into second. How about that? 29 back to third. And we had seen John Jenkins all over the back bumper, the number 29, as Jimmy McKee, look at him send it off into turn number 3. He's trying to go to the outside of the 29 of Warther, unable to do so. And he's just going to cut off the nose of the number 11, say, hey, bud, I want to take this spot. Remember, Seville on slightly older tires now, starting to drift back through the field.
By the way, the 4th Amigo in the playoffs, Adam Jersky, he has climbed back into the top 10. He's in 9th now, Peter, on the freshest tires on the track.
Yeah, definitely working his way forward. Just got Jordan Harnish right behind him as we have now gotten ourselves to the halfway mark here in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship finale. Definitely been an interesting first half of the race. Topsy-turvy and a very difficult one to call here tonight, Greg, because so many different strategies out there on the racetrack right now. We have some drivers like Adam Jersky, who pitted for the first time just 18 laps ago, and then we have Greg Evans leading the way, 56 laps on his tires.
So this is where the different pit strategy is really starting to come into play here, Peter. And this is where you're going to be seeing those guys begin to think about it. We saw some suggestions thrown out in the chat. For instance, Jared Haggerty said he would come in at lap 150 for the money stop of this one. That would be 50 laps to go when he came down pit road. So we've seen some different ideas bounced around. The question is, what is the winning call going to be? We know these drivers are on different strategies, but if we catch a caution around, say, lap 130, 140, would we see everybody come down, all get on the same strategy, and get moving from there?
Yeah, Adam Jersky going to drop underneath the number 87 of Jay Crable. He's going to move up to 8th now as he's going to set his sights on AJ Digby, who's right in front of him. There's Jordan Harnish trying to make that move as well. So, whoa, big slide out of AJ Digby. He's going to get into the wall just a little bit. That's going to open the door for the number 69 of Adam Jersky, and Jersky just going to roll on through on that bottom groove, move him now up into 7th. We'll go back and catch this one on the 3-wide TV replay. Watch this big wiggle that he had here coming out of turn number 2, Greg.
Let's see what happens. Whoa! Has to chase it down. Nice job by Jersky to hang on to it, though, and not lose a spot in that number 69, as he had to go down to the bottom to chase it down. Digby hanging on to it. Jay Crable also was having some issues, Peter, as he caught the wall in front of Jersky a few moments ago as well. There you see Jimmy McKee in the 8. There's Crable, the 87. You saw what happened with him. McKee going after Worsler for 3rd, and McKee, playoff driver, just trying to get up there and get with his playoff competition, Evans and Jenkins. And notice that, Peter, all 4 playoff drivers in the top 7 right now.
Oh, McKee, big slide. He saved it. What a save from the number 8 machine, but caution flag is waving for something else that must have happened out there on the racetrack. Jake Crable in the 87 appears to have gone around. That was a big moment by the number 8 machine. We'll see this first. Watch this slide right here down on to the grass, able to save it. That was huge for the number 8 machine, one of your playoff contenders. Now we'll go back and see what happened to Jay Crable. And, well, it looks like we're going to get another look at the number 8 machine. And we're being told to watch the splitter here because, oh, man, just barely saving that race car. Very impressive. And there's what happened to Jay Crable a little bit further back. Let's see if we can get a look at this one, Greg.
Crable in the 87. Contact with Digby. And there was a couple different points of contact there with Crable and Digby there. And then finally going around, and they both shoot up the track. Crable getting the worst of it. Tough break for Crable. First time back in a while, but not the return he was looking for. And that's a shame because he was having such a good run. Nice job by Woody Mahan to do some heads-up driving there to get through it.
Yeah, there was a nudge and a nudge and a nudge in turn number 1 and 2. And then, like you said, just kind of finished it off there in turn number 3 and 4. Just the slightest of taps between the two. But I think Crable just locked up the rear tires a little bit. The back end started sliding. He was a little bit offline and just missed his braking marker just a smidgen and had to try and get on the binders a little bit harder. And that's what whipped around the back end of the number 87. Now, here's the interesting point. Any takers on pit road? A couple further back in the pack. Richard Stallings, Michael Whiting, and Mark Myers all elected to come down pit road, but I'm not 100% sure if any of those drivers elected to take tires or not. Those drivers have all received damage at one point or another here tonight, so they might just be coming down for their crews to add a little bit more bare bond, a little bit more sure tape onto the front of those race cars here. But we are back under yellow here tonight. Not looking good for that 25% of the race under yellow count. You
No,
can see right there.
I think we're going to have to go green from here on to be able to do that.
Yeah, they might be able to get one more yellow in, but definitely not two. So we'll see how that goes here tonight. And man, I know a lot of these drivers, they would love to have another short track on the schedule for next year, but it's not looking too promising at this point. But what about a couple of those playoff drivers up there near the front on the fresher tires? Adam Jersky is one of those. He's going to restart here on the inside of row number 4, back behind the number 11 of Tyler Seville. Keep an eye on him. He was starting to march his way forward up through the field before this caution flag came out. So Jersky here in a pretty good position to run down some of these cars in front of him now that they're all kind of stacked up together here before this green flag. Greg?
And Jersky's in a good position too, because if they stay out there for more than, I'd say, 20, 30 laps, I think that's when you come in for your final stop around lap 130, 140, green flag back in the air. You can get yourself back on the same strategy, and all of a sudden this is a whole new ball game up here in Martinsville. Greg Evans leading the way in the 2, side by side for third between Worsler and McKee. Boy, Jimmy McKee got lucky there. That big slide that wound up not hurting him nearly as much as it could have as he slides up the track a little bit there in 3 and 4. Gonna have to fall in line, and now we're starting to see what we're used to seeing with Martinsville. That outside lane starting to become quite the disadvantage up here.
Yeah, but if you're Adam Jersky, you know you're on fresher tires. You just have to be patient here as things in front of him just trying to sort out. Ooh, almost contact back there between the 24 and the 32. Alan Young trying to hold on to the 5th position. He has Tyler Seville underneath him. Remember, Seville's on those older tires. Jersky right behind Seville's on freshest tires out of this front lot. So Jersky here having to be patient. He knows the 11's on older tires, but he has the preferred line. And contact between the 24 and the 11, and that almost sent the 24 machine around. Looks like the 55 right there of Brian Yazik just shot around the outside after that contact, but there was definite bumping and banging between the 11 and the 24 there coming out of turn number 4.
Seville not having the run that he needed here in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown finals, as he's back to 6th, and he's in trouble now because Adam Jersky to the inside as well. Jersky looking for another spot to try to climb it up. Yes, he will get it. Mahan loose behind him in the 84. Nice save by Woody Mahan in the 84. That, Peter, was one heck of a save.
The Mahan Speed Laboratories number 84 still kicking it sideways coming out of turn number 4. That's going to open the door here for AJ Digby. And Mahan's got to be really careful here, Greg. He's overheated the rear tires. That's going to make them really hot and slick for the next couple of laps. He just has to find that rhythm that he was in just a couple of laps ago. Let those rear tires cool down. You will get the grip back. You just don't want to make matters worse by continuing to slide the race car. And it looks like that is what Woody Mahan is doing, currently riding inside the top 10 in the 10th position. Tyler Seville slid back to 9th now. Adam Jersky up to 7th. He's on the back bumper of the 24 of Alan Young. So we'll keep an eye on that. One thing I did notice is when the 11 and the 24 had a little bit of a coming together, Adam Jersky actually got a little bit of rear end damage from the 32 of Jordan Harnish. With those two coming together, Jersky checked up. Harnish couldn't go anywhere but into the back bumper, that number 69. And so you can see it right there. That rear end damage as, Jordan Harnish having a little bit of a slide there coming out of turn number 4. It's getting hot and slick out there here at Martinsville.
Track temperature is only 82 degrees, so that's not necessarily the contributing factor to this right now. It's more or less these drivers are starting to really get up on the wheel, and they're starting to squeal those tires a little bit more here and there, trying to go because they know it's getting down to crunch time. They know they still have a set of tires on pit road, so they can afford to go a little bit extra hard right now. Working lap 124 of 200 right now, with Evans in front, Jenkins in second, then Worsler, McKee, Yazik back up in the top 5. After falling well outside the top 10 a few laps ago, right around lap 80 or so after that big moment in the 55. And remember, Peter, up until his elimination in the round of 8, we were talking about it because Brian Yazik at one point was having one of the most consistent stretches of the season, finishing in the top 5 almost every week. Just unfortunately, that playoff luck ran out in the round of 8 because he had quite a shot I think, at a championship had things gone his way as well.
And, Brian Yazek has kind of approached these last few races ever since he was eliminated from playoff contention. He's had the intention of just going out there and having some fun. And here tonight, he's a little bit off sequence from these cars. He's like the number 69 machine of Adam Jersky. He only pitted 30 laps ago in that number 55 machine. You compare that to Greg Evans, who pitted 80 laps ago. So Yazek has 50 laps less on his tires, and you can see that here as he's closed in on the back of the number 8 of McKee. We ride on board with the 69, who continues to struggle to get past Alan Young here, as we are mostly single file for the first 10 cars. In fact, Jersky now going to try that higher line, going to try and cut underneath the 24 machine, try and do a little bit of the over-under. It works here at Martinsville. You can do that, but you have to be careful because you can open up the door for a car behind it. Whoa, problems for the number 7 of John Jenkins. Something must have happened to him because he went up the racetrack.
Yeah, he falls to 5th. Let's see if we can take a look at the 3Y TV replay of what happened here with John Jenkins in the 7. There's Worsler behind him. Just bobbled into turn number 3. Had to chase it all the way up to the wall before gathering it back up in 5th. So Jenkins suddenly, now he's in trouble because not only is he out now in the top 5 on the bubble, Jimmy McKee was able to get around him, Peter. So big wreck here in the corner. Troy Hayden, the 28. Richard Stallings, look who else is up there. Take another shot. It's Michael Krobach in the 72. Tim Knott going around in the 41. Let's take a looky, Peter.
Yeah, I think this happened in front of the number 41. You can see him. I think he just tries to get on the binders there a little bit late. Looks like it happened up there by the 17 and the 28. That's Stallings and Haight. Let's see if we can see what happened between these two. Stallings right behind Haight as they went off into the corner. They're back behind AJ Digby, who had been struggling through the field and falling back, and this looks like a little bit of a nudge. And you know what? All things considered for Martinsville, that's not too bad. Let's see if we can get an onboard with the number 72 here, Michael Krobach. We will update what's happening on pit road right now here in just a brief moment. Onboard with the number 72. And another one right in front of him and just squeaking on through. Great job there by Michael Krobach. Again, just squeaking through. Now, live out there on the racetrack, 29 machine. Will Worcester, your pole sitter on pit road. Greg Evans joining him. There's Adam Jersky. There's the number 11. A whole bunch of others coming down as well. But we also had a lot of cars elect to stay out there on the racetrack. Current race leader, Jimmy McKee, and the number 8 machine. Brian Yazek in 2nd, John Jenkins in 3rd, Alan Young 4th, Jordan Harnage 5th. So split decisions here tonight at Martinsville, Greg.
So Jimmy McKee going to inherit the race lead. And how big would this be, Peter, if Jimmy McKee can pull the rabbit out of the hat and get this win? Because he is a playoff driver. That would give him such an advantage moving in to next week's championship race in the Arizona desert in Phoenix. That would be an incredible night for Jimmy McKee if he can pull this off. But he still does have to make one more pit stop. Working lap 133 right now under caution. There is going to be one more pit stop for McKee, and there's still 21 drivers on the lead lap right now. Only three drivers, have parked it for the night and loaded up and gone home. Spiker, Fletcher, and Rogers, the only 3 cars. Make it 4 as Richard Stallings has just loaded up after this latest incident and started the trip over to Phoenix, Arizona for next week's championship race.
Yeah, of course, make sure to join us next week for the American Regardless Championship finale of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series. It is going to be a fantastic race out in the desert to see who will be crowned this series champion. It's been a long season, Greg, going all the way back to March. And I'm sure these drivers will be so happy to see the end of this season and figure out who's going to be champion.
And don't forget, we also have a championship on the line here between Greg Evans and Tyler Seville. They're back on deep in the field after pitting. Evans in 15th, Seville in 17th will be right behind him. Remember, if Evans can win both the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown, he gets the new wheel, and if he wins the championship next week, it's a new PC, Evans has a chance to get himself pretty much a whole new sim rig here.
Yeah, definitely very cool I'd love a new sim rig myself by doing a little bit of sim racing. I've picked up a few trophies here and there throughout my online sim racing career, but never as one as big as that. As the green flag flies once again here tonight at Martinsville Speedway, they dive off into turn number 1. Jimmy McKee and Brian Yazek go into turn number 1, and caution flag is out. Looks like the 24 machine of Alan Young might have gone around in the Young Gun Creations Chevrolet, so that was very, very quick. He actually restarted on the outside of the second row. Let's see what happened here as they go off into turn number 1. Ooh, maybe a little bit of contact there with Woody Mahan.
Yeah. Some contact. Did you see a number 72 there again, Peter? On board with Michael Krobach. Yeah, look who's there. Woody Mahan right in front of him. Take another shot. I feel sorry for everyone. I think we're going to have to pull the plug on the drinking game here tonight because we don't want anyone to go into alcohol poisoning. Here you see him getting through it again. We're going to have to talk to Michael Krobach at the end of the race just to see what goes through his mind every single time this happens.
You know what? Why wait? I want to see if we can get that number 72 here in the 3-wide TV booth now, because it's just been a game here tonight with him out there. Hey, Michael Krobach, Peter Short here in the 3-wide TV booth. How many accidents have you avoided here tonight? Are you keeping count?
Probably at least 4 or 5, I want to say. The first one with the 04 coming right across my nose really scared me, and we might need a new change of undergarments with that. And then we barely missed the wreck with the 19, and then the last couple there have been all over the place. So just trying to keep the 72 HPP simulation, clipping that Apex forward clean. Didn't want to put a qualifying lap in, so we just kind of gave that away. Didn't have a lot of time to practice. So just want to start at the back and see what we can do and ride with Brian on the no qualify and run to the front strategy.
Well, you guys are doing a fantastic job of here, and you're the highest you've been all night long, currently in 6th. But I think everyone here watching thinks that you have some lasers or some guns or something that you're just making everyone in front of you spin out here tonight. So definitely been a fantastic ride. Best of luck here in the closing stages.
Peter, it's been a fun race, and looking forward to the last 60 laps.
All right, folks, that is the number 72 of Michael Krobach. We'll let him get back to his Lob Pedal Motorsports teammates. Definitely been an interesting race for him. Up, down night. And Greg, I gotta say, that number 72, he's in good spirits, all things considered.
Yeah, Krobach has definitely had quite the adventure. I hope the announcer's jinx does not get to him, because that would be such a shame if something like that were to happen late in the race. He has done an amazing job keeping that HPP Simulations Mustang clean. We would hate to see something like that happen. Who knows? In 6th place right now, he still has to make one more pit stop. He's having a nice run. He might be able to steal this one if he can keep it clean.
And I think what everyone in the chat's going to be asking is, what about the drivers who just came down and took tires a little bit ago? Greg Evans, Will Worsler, Adam Jersky, Tyler Seville and company, they're currently going to be restarting back in 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and on back. But we have now reached 25% of this race has been run under caution, and that is based off of the full length 200 laps. So it looks like we will be going to another 1.5 miles next season here in the American Sim Racing Series. But nonetheless, we'll put that aside because we're about to go back to green flag racing. And the number 8 machine, Jimmy McKee, one of your Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series playoff drivers, trying to go for a championship. He is your race leader with the number 55 of Brian Yazek to his outside. And look who's in 3rd, the number 7 of John Jenkins.
Jenkins trying to get back up there in the number 7. He's the 2nd highest playoff driver. Remember, those drivers that came down pit road that last time, including Evans and Jersky, trying to fight their way back to the field.
Championship implications. Couple of your playoff drivers involved in an accident here at Martinsville, including Greg Evans and the number 69, Adam Jersky, both involved in an accident here in turn number 3 and 4. Sorry to cut you off, Greg, but this is championship implications written all over it. Let's go back a little bit further and see what happened here. John Van Varelis in the 41 attempt not contact, back up the racetrack, right into the number 2. Jay Crable also getting turned around, and the 69, Adam Jersky, absolutely nowhere to go. My, oh my, this could be big, folks.
That is exactly what Jimmy McKee in the number 8 needed. He needed these two to have some kind of issue to try to get himself back in the mix. He got his wish there. You see Jersky and Evans get together. Now they're in trouble, Peter. Evans might be okay, but for Jersky, after a disappointing run at Texas where he had to rally to finish in the 10th position, hate to say it, but for the Cheesecake, that may be the final nail in the coffin. We go on board with Evans. It all depends on how the next 60 or so laps go, but man, you hate to see it for Jersky. He was 18 points back entering tonight in a tie with McKee, but there's the big one right there, folks. Greg Evans was leading the points entering tonight. I don't foresee how that's going to be able to withstand after this.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, that number 2 definitely has a lot of damage. And the big thing for Greg Evans is he's already come down to make his final pit stop. He's staying out there on the racetrack. The big question is, we've already seen him have some damage here tonight when he got hit in the right rear quarter panel. But now he has a lot more damage. How is that car going to drive? Is it going to be square even? I mean, in iRacing, yes, you can get suspension damage. The wheel might not be straight on that number 2 machine. And if that's the case, it's going to be a very difficult final 55 laps for the man who comes into tonight as your points leader and is looking for that Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship. No major takers on pit road here at this point in the race. So it looks like they're electing to kind of get past lap number 150. We did see, I think it was Jared Haggerty in the chat saying, lap number 50 is my lap. That is the lap that he'd come down pit road. I still think you could go maybe till about 40 to go, but I don't think, after what I've seen out of like the number 69 of Adam Jersky when he was trying to work his way up through the field, I don't think you're going to make a final pit stop in the final 40 laps. I think it has to be before the final 40 laps if these caution flags start to kind of happen, you know, thick and fast here in the closing laps. Because one thing about these races, Greg, cautions breed cautions.
Pace car is off. I was thinking around lap 140. We've surpassed that mark. 130 to 140, right around when Evans, Seville, and Worsler and company came down. So those are the guys that are on my kind of mindset right now. We'll see how it unfolds. Green flag back in the air. Yazik with a nice run into turn number 1 to be able to get the lead on the outside. Gets the nose in front. Yazik's going to clear him. That's the first time we've seen the outside lane work all day.
And that number 55 machine slides up the racetrack a little bit, though. That's going to open the door once again for the number 8 machine. They're still side by side here as they go off into turn number 1. But remember, the 55 is on slightly fresher tires, trying to get those rear tires to hook up there coming out of the corner. They're still side by side down the backstretch, but that number 8 going to power ahead here off into turn number 3. Great run for him. Of course, we talked about the overall championship implications. What about the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown championship implications? That's given Tyler Seville an advantage over Greg Evans in the number 11 machine, as it looks like finally the number 8 has been able to get himself back up to the front. He's really racing with those elbows out here tonight, trying to get himself back up into the discussion next week at the Phoenix International Raceway for the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship, because he is one of those yellow numbered drivers. He is one of those 4 racing for the championship. Greg Evans starting to slice and dice his way back up through the field, even though he just has all that damage. Meanwhile, the number 69, is he more damaged? Adam Jersky in the 69 doesn't seem to be moving up through the field quite so fast. That could spell bad news for the Cheesecake driver in that bright pink number 69. In fact, looking at Greg Evans, looks like he's going to try and get around Sam Crow here. Remember, those two are teammates, and it does look like the number 2 of Evans going to take that spot in turn number 3. In fact, he's closing up to the back of Tyler Seville. How about that, Greg? That number 2 on a mission right now.
Just when you thought, Peter, that this was a locked up done deal for Evans in this race, all of a sudden he has fought back into the top 10. Tyler Seville is going to be sweating just a little bit now, knowing that Evans is coming behind him. Evans does have quite a bit of damage as he gets around Krobach. This is for 9th on the charts. Krobach falling back now. Sam Crow in the number 5. Saw him getting some action earlier today. He is falling back in the 72 as Crow goes around him. Still McKee up front as he's been able to get clear of Yazik. We're inside the final quarter of this one. Jenkins in 3rd. Harnish back to 4th in the 32. Then Worsler, Seville, Digby, Alan Young, Greg, Evans, Sam Crow, your top 10.
And you can see Adam Jersky in the number 69. He's on fresher tires, and that race car just doesn't seem to have the speed anymore after being involved in that last accident. It really didn't look like Adam Jersky took a heavy hit in that accident, but it seems like it's taken the speed out of his car a lot more than it has the number 2 of Evans, who arguably had a much heavier hit. Just iRacing crash physics sometimes do you dirty like that. And Evans going to actually make the move on AJ Digby, get himself up into 8th. Going to set his sights on Alan Young. Tyler Seville in the number 11. He's got his sights set on Jordan Harnish. This is a battle for the 5th position right there. In fact, he's going to drop to the inside and take away that spot. Now Will Worsler, your pole sitter here tonight, the Midwest Simulations Pole Award winner. He's just gotten himself up into 3rd with a pass on John Jenkins, with now just 43 laps to go, 42 this time by. And whoa, look at Tyler Seville sliding up in front of John Jenkins. That was a very tight move by the number 11. I'm sure he's got the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship in the back of his head here in these closing laps.
Here, did you see about a lap ago, Alan Young getting the back of the 7 of Jenkins? That could have been big if Jenkins had not been able to gather it up. Seville was able to get around Jenkins. We're watching Seville also just as much as you're watching the 4 drivers in yellow, because Seville is the points leader of the Wheelman Showdown. Battle for the lead up front as Yazik has gotten to the inside again of McKee. Yazik and McKee side by side. McKee led the lap last time, not going to be this time. Brian Yazik to the lead. Winner at Kentucky earlier this season. Still looking for win number 2 on the season. He's got the lead now, bringing Worsler with him.
And he got a little bit of a nudge from that number 29 machine right there going through turn number 2. Yazik, I know he's seen that the number 29 and the 11 are back behind him. He knows that they're on fresher tires than him. And so he's doing everything he can to get up to the front. And you can see that when the number 8 and McKee got shuffled to that high line, he'd lost a couple of spots. He's now back to 4th right in front of John Jenkins. 3 playoff drivers right there grouped together with McKee, Jenkins, and Evans running in 4th, 5th, and 6th. And in fact, looks like McKee going to move up out of the groove. This is a battle now for the 4th position back behind the number 7 of John Jenkins, trying to get to the inside of the number 8 here coming out of turn number 2. And look at Greg Evans on those fresher tires. He's now up in 6th. He's going to try and take this position if the number 8 indeed loses that spot to the number 7. And oh man, I thought Jenkins was going to be able to kind of power around the number 8, not able to do so. They continue to race side by side here at Martinsville.
Trying to get up and gain as many positions as he can is Evans in the 2. Trying to put a stranglehold on the championship, moving into Phoenix next year as Evans to the inside of McKee gets the spot. Now going after Jenkins, bringing Alan Young with him. Young, remember, was also in the playoffs in that number 24, made it to the round of 8.
Contact! Battle for the race lead. The 55 machine of Yazik has gone around, and the 11 of Tyler Seville has gotten caught up in it as well. And this is going to bring out the caution. And we were saying all those good things about Tyler Seville and his position here in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown. A little bit of contact right there between the 55 and the 29. And Yazik went around right at the front of the field, and I'm sure those 2 drivers not seeing eye to eye right now at this present moment in time.
Oh no, there's definitely going to be a conversation after the fact at this one. We're going to have to get the security away from the hot dog stand and get them ready for the post-race with Yazik and Worsler. And what a shame that is for Tyler Seville in the number 11, Peter. Was going up there for the race lead. We're on board with him, leading the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown points entering tonight. And all of a sudden that happens.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a very tough one to take if you're Tyler Seville right there, because he's already come down. He's already made his final pit stop here tonight. He's currently scored down in 12th. He's going to have a lot of luck go his way if he's going to walk away, excuse me, with that SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown title. Will Worsler in the number 29 machine, however, he has taken the end of longest line penalty for that collision. So he will drop to the tail end of the field, and that will give the race lead to this man right here, Greg Evans, who has 10, folks, 10 wins to his name so far this season. Comes into tonight as the points leader. But working against him right now is the fact that he is on older tires than some of these cars who just came down pit road. And the first car off pit road, Greg, the man he's been fighting all season long with, the number 7 of John Jenkins. Looks like he's going to be restarting in 11th here when we go back green here shortly.
So big implications in the Wheelman Showdown now after the implications in the playoffs. Greg Evans back to the lead in the number 2, Seville in the black and green number 11, currently being scored in 7th. All seems to be okay right now on that number 11, and with just 30 laps to go, it may work out for him, but he's going to have to hustle his way through to try to get up there with Evans. But the good news for him is the amount of damage that Evans has. How long can he hold on to it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cars out there that have damage here tonight, Greg. We've seen a good portion of the field involved in some type of accident here tonight. And Michael Krobach, no stranger to those accidents. He actually was one of the drivers who elected to come down pit road under this last caution. The front 10 drivers all stayed out. However, Greg Evans, Alan Young sitting in second. Good job by Alan Young. Again, quietly sneaking up there into the top 3. Sam Crow in third. Woody Mahan, Adam Jersky, Troy Hates, Seville, Whiting, Bash, Van Verellis, all those drivers staying out. Then a whole bunch of drivers who came down pit road. Who's going to walk away with the checkered flag here tonight? Just 30 laps to determine who will win here at Martinsville, Greg.
30 laps to go. Green flag in the air. We're on board with Sam Crow in the 5. As we get back racing, Evans able to clear side by side for second between Mahan and Young. Look at Adam Jersky. He's a playoff driver in 5th, but we're worried about the damage on the 69 as well, as Seville has gotten around Haight, moves Seville up to 6th.
And there was contact in the back of the pack around John Jenkins in the number 7 machine. Let's watch this huge stack up. Jenkins got a run underneath JR Bash, but he had to absolutely slam on the brakes to not run into the back of the 44, and then a big stack up ensued, including championship playoff driver Jimmy McKee. They're able to sort things out. Jenkins continuing to slide his way now up through the field. We're 3 wide coming out of the corner. There's contact between Jenkins and Digby, and Digby's around hard into the inside wall in the backstretch. Caution flag waves once again here at Martinsville.
8 got the wall as well in the number 28. Saw Jenkins up there in that mix. I don't know if he got a piece of it or not. Let's take a look. You see Digby on the inside there. Slingshot. We did get into Jenkins, but I don't think it was enough to really affect him. Michael Krobach squeaks through yet again in that number 72. Everybody take another shot. Oh yeah, I forgot we stopped that. So no more shots there, but let's take a look. 3 wide, Martinsville typically doesn't work. A little bit of a hip check there. And yep, there goes Krobach.
Yeah, man, I'm going to need a new pair of underwear after this one, because, boy, this has been an absolute crazy race. You know, I'll tell you what, if you folks at home rooting along Michael Krobach have seen all of the incident he's avoided here tonight, you'd need a new pair of underwear as well. There you go, once again. Just barely squeaking through that one. And there's Michael Krobach currently being scored in the 14th position. One of the drivers who did not take time. Definitely still trying to work his way up through the field. Let's reset the field for you here, because Greg Evans, still your race leader. Alan Young still in second. Woody Mahan was able to squeak through up into third with a kind of a power move on Sam Crow around the high side. And I'm not quite sure if Crow couldn't get up through the gears or whatnot, but Crow definitely kind of had a stumble on that restart, and Mahan was able to get up to third. That really stacked up the inside line. Adam Jersky in the number 69, he's got himself back up into the top 5. He's up into 5th in the Beef Jersky's Cheesecake Emporium Chevy Camaro. Looks like we got another replay here lined up, and I think this is for the replay. Watch the 84 machine here of Woody Mahan just sliced down. Ooh, man, he tried to get that second position there, unable to do so, but Woody Mahan definitely tried.
Beautiful move there by Mahan in the 84. He missed the playoffs, Peter, but he wants a win, and he's only got 2 shots left at it to get a win for Loud Pedal Motorsports, and then the 84, Mahan Speed Laboratories Ford Mustang, and he knows he's got a shot at it tonight, up in third with just over 20 laps to go. And what an opportunity for him if he can get this done.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt here. Of course, into the final 25 laps of tonight's race. Let's head over to the chat. What we got over there? Christopher Bouchard saying patience. Tyler Orn saying at least it's a short track. Damage usually isn't that bad. Yeah, we've kind of seen that ups and downs here tonight. I mean, Adam Jersky seems like he might be a little bit damaged off the pace, and he didn't get a whole lot of damage. TWS GNSLR saying Evans' damage is all rear. Jersky took the nose damage crashing into Evans. Yes, he did, and that's a very, very good point. Usually front-end damage much more deadly in iRacing than rear-end damage. And Mod Chaser Mitch saying more short tracks, please. They definitely produce a lot of action, don't they? Kendall Kerr was rooting on the number 8 machine of Jimmy McKee. Stopped in, found the race by accident, saying Jimmy is his teammate in the Highline Racing League. Very cool to see that. So we welcome you, Kendall, here to 3 Wide TV. But we're going to say goodbye to the pace car because Green Flag going to wave here. 22 laps to go. And the 2 machine already on the loud pedal. Man, wasn't even out of turn number 4 when he hit the gas. And that's really going to stack up the inside groove because from Jersky on back, they just didn't get a good restart. And that's really going to pole vault Woody Mahan up to second.
Yeah, I was just going to say, look at the purple 84 up to second. 3 wide behind him. John Jenkins thought 3 wide, backed out of it. Playoff driver trying to get back up there. We got 3 playoff drivers in a line there on the inside there with Jersky, Jenkins, and McKee. The problem for them, as there's contact between Jersky and Crow, the problem for these 3 playoff drivers right here, the 4th one is leading the way right now, and we are going to be 20 laps to go. This time by as Greg Evans crosses the stripe. You're on board with the 69 of Jersky. Now you're on board with Crow. Looking at the 69 of Jersky, they are battling hard right now to try to get as much of an advantage over each other as they can. Here comes Jenkins to the inside of Jersky, trying to clear Crow. Not quite. Oh, contact between McKee and Crow. Jersky bobbles. Jenkins checks up, and McKee runs in the back of him. We have a stack up, but we stay green.
Yeah, John Jenkins there got into the back of the 69. The inside groove really stacked up. In fact, John Jenkins, he lost his rear bumper in that little bit of a skirmish. Here we go, the 11 of Seville trying to work his way now underneath the 5 of Sam Crow. And there might have been a little bit of contact there again. Oh, John Jenkins in the 7 into the inside wall, hard into the inside wall. No caution. And Greg, the rails really coming off here for the number 7 machine at this point of the season.
He has a ton of damage on the rear end, Peter. Sorry to cut you off, but I just saw the sheer amount of damage on that 7 car.
Yeah, he was just trying to get on the throttle a little bit sooner than the number 69 as caution flag waves, and it's another one of our championship drivers, the 8 machine, excuse me, of Jimmy McKee involved in this one. We saw Sam Crow there involved. Major championship implications just coming together there, coming out of the corner. You can see them locked together down the front stretch. The whole field scattering. We're going to have to get another look at this one. Maybe from high atop the blimp cam might be the only way to settle out this one. We got a little bit of drone cam action here coming out of the corner. There's a little bit of a nudge there. And yeah, I think the 8 of McKee thought maybe Sam Crow was a little bit higher up the racetrack, but nonetheless, they made contact with one another, and just like this, Greg, your championship contenders kind of dropping like flies.
Oh, who else had to get through it? We're just going to call this the crash cam. We're going to call this the HPP Simulations crash cam. Michael Krobach again getting through.
Yeah, Michael Krobach now up inside the top 10 once again with that wreck avoidance for the 10th time here tonight. Greg Evans in the number 2 continues to lead. Woody Mahan in second. Adam Jersky's got himself up into 4th. Tyler Seville into 5th. Jordan Harnish in 6th. Now the big question is going to be which one of these drivers inside the top 10 or so have fresh tires? And the answer would be Jordan Harnish, running in the 6th position right now, has the freshest tires in the top 6. Those tires only about 20 laps old. They're about 30 to 35 laps fresher than Greg Evans. Of course, not all of those laps have been run under the green flag. So how will this work out for Harnish in the Beef Jerky's Cheesecake number 32? And Greg, remember, Harnish started this race here tonight on the outside front row.
Harnish has had a great run in that number 32. Very quiet run. And Peter, he's another one of those guys who always had speed in his Mustang every time he came to the track. If he had run a full season, wonder what he could have been able to do in the playoff position. Could he have been able to crack the playoffs? He has a lot of speed in that Mustang. Could he have been able to do something?
You know, definitely he's been very, very fast. He has only started about 2/3 of the races this year in that number 32 Ford. But he's definitely one of those drivers who, if he was to walk away with a win here tonight, I wouldn't be at all too surprised. Definitely a driver who has a tendency to try and keep his nose clean on that number 32. We saw a good race out of him last week at Texas Motor Speedway as well. So a little bit of momentum late in the season, trying to carry that into Phoenix, the season finale next week. But the pace truck lights continue to twinkle on that Chevy Silverado out there, right in front of the Chevy Camaro of Greg Evans. Woody Mahan there trying to line up double file for this restart here. Big shout out to our friends over at SERVPRO of Grapevine, Texas. And of course, big sponsor of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown, the championship within a championship that comes to a conclusion here tonight. And gotta say, SERVPRO jumping on board and doing that, I think it is a 10 race long championship within a championship. And they've been the sponsor for all of those races, all coming to a close here tonight. Who is going to walk away with that SERVPRO wheel? We'll figure out here. Green flag going to be in the air. Just 11 lap shootout here at the half-mile paperclip that's known as Martinsville, and the 2 machine of Greg Evans on the loud pedal early once again. But a good restart by Woody Mahan, was able to keep with him here in turn number 1. Might we see a little bit of that bumper? You always have to think about the chrome horn here at Martinsville.
Oh yeah, that was a conversation topic all week in iRacing here in the realms of it. By the way, Peter, just 10 laps to go here at Martinsville. The action is definitely beginning to heat up. The sun's going down as well here. We're racing off into the sunset for real here at Martinsville. By the way, the 24 Val Young is in 3rd. Tyler Seville up to 4th. Side by side, Jason Stewart, where did he come from? He's going to crack the top 5 as he gets the nose in front of Adam Jersky.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that of the drivers on the fresher tires, the number 32, Jordan Harnish, did not get a good restart. He lost the position and that title to Jason Stewart, who's now the first car on fresh tires. And look at the 55 of Brian Yazik trying to use the high line to get back up towards the front. Remember, there was that contact with the number 29 machine of Will Worcester, so we know he's on fresh tires as well, as he's now slicing and dicing his way through that Loud Pedal Motorsports Ford on a mission to get towards the front. Just 7 laps to go this time. And Greg, will we see Greg Evans pick up win number 11 on the season? It's all looking good for him right now. A quarter of a second lead over Woody Mahan.
Put a stranglehold on the points championship into Phoenix next week. But Woody Mahan and Alan Young still lurking there. Tyler Seville trying to get anything he can. We would have to go to the final points to check in on that Wheelman Showdown, brought to you by SERVPRO, to see what happens here if this race ends the way it does. 6 laps to go. Going to be 5 at the line for Greg Evans in the 2.
And Woody Mahan right now is in a rock. Between a rock and a hard place. What am I saying? He's between a rock and a hard place. He is a rock. Well, I'll tell you what, he is kind of a rock right now because he's just kind of lumbering along right now, but he's between a rock and a hard place. There we go. because Greg Evans in front of him, he might want to put a bumper to the back of that number 2 machine, but he knows that Greg Evans is one of those championship drivers. He does not want to be the driver to spoil it for the number 2. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of effort that's gone into Greg Evans this season, trying to pick up win number 11 here tonight, and Woody Mahan trying to pick up win number 1 in the Mahan Speed Laboratories Ford, but just 3 laps to go this time.
Evans pulling away from Mahan in the 84 just a little bit. Alan Young wants a shot at Mahan, but he bobbled there and it cost him some time. Laps clicking away. Evans sitting pretty here in the number 2. Coming to 2 laps to go. Looking for win number 11, and with that damage on the back, that would be a huge recovery for him.
And I'm keeping an eye on the number 72 of Michael Krobach, because if a caution flag was to wave here in the final 2 laps, I bet you it happened somewhere close to Michael Krobach and that HPPsimulation.com Ford. But we will have the white flag in the air this time. If they can make it to the stripe, there would be no attempts at a green-white checker. Greg Evans just 1 lap away from winning here at Martinsville and picking up win number 11 and the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship.
What a moment it would be for Evans to fight back if he can make this one final turn. Mahan's going to have one final shot going into 3 and 4. Not going to be enough. Make it 11. This one goes to Greg Evans in the number 2.
Greg Evans, win number 11 on the season. And Greg, I'll tell you what, he had to fight for that one here tonight. That car beaten up, banged up in turn number 3 and 4 there with about 50 laps to go. I thought it was all over for this man right here, but Greg Evans gonna seal the deal here tonight, pick up the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship, and with it, one of the Sam Maxwell Customs steering wheels that is going to be, I think it's about a $700 steering wheel that Greg Evans just picked up by picking up his 11th win of the season. And of course, like you said, a stranglehold on the point standings going into next week's season finale in the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series playoffs. Greg Evans could be walking away with, like you said, almost a complete new sim rig next week at Phoenix. What a win.
Big one here for Greg Evans tonight, and he is doing some celebrating here at Martinsville Speedway. 2nd here in the spring, and he blows the motor during his celebration. He's just going to try to coast it to the finish line and call it a day. Greg Evans, win number 11 on the season. And he is going to make it to the finish line and just barely make it and come to the stop. Perfect. Park job there by Evans. Blows the motor, but win number 11 on the season.
Yeah, we're going to step away for just a brief moment here on 3Wide TV, dial up some of these top 3 finishers. We'll get a word with Alan Young, Woody Mahan, and Greg Evans. We'll be right back.
Every day in business starts with a number. Output, productivity, efficiency, all measured in numbers, because data drives decisions. And if fire or water damage strikes, the numbers for your business can slow or even stop. Unless you know this one. 1-800-SERVPRO, the number 1 choice in commercial cleanup and restoration.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome to Sliced Pizza Bar, where we're passionate about great pizza. All of our food is made fresh daily using only the finest ingredients and techniques. Our chefs put their heart and soul into each pie, and we're sure you'll taste the difference. Located on both the Indian Rocks and Madeira beaches, chances are we're right around the corner for your next pizza night or dinner date. Come give us a try and experience the slice difference.
All right, folks, welcome back to Martinsville Speedway, where the final round of the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown, the penultimate round of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series playoffs, has come to its conclusion here tonight. I'm Peter Shorten. Greg Rentz will be conducting these interviews with me, and I think we are going to dial up tonight's third place finisher, the number 24 machine of Alan Young. Alan, this is Peter Short here in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, here's the good news, Alan, is it seems like you're making yourself pretty comfy up here in the 3Y TV booth more often here as this season has gone on. The bad news is not in victory lane here tonight, but I'll tell you what, another very strong run out of the Young Gun Creations number 24 machine. Tell us about your night here at Martinsville.
It's pretty uneventful. I messed up my qualifying lap. Lap one, I drove in too hard and went up the track, so I started farther back than I wanted to, and just didn't really have what I needed tonight in the first part of the race. But then as we got going, I felt like I had something for him, and then Woody got in the back of me by accident going into, I think it was one on the restart, and kind of forced me to pit sooner than I wanted to. But overall, it was a decent race.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, you walk away with a third place finish here tonight, and you know, like I said, yeah, you kind of screwed up qualifying. You started ninth midfield. A third place finish. You happy with that, or do you think you could have got some more here tonight?
I'll take it. I wish I didn't let Greg by. He was a little bit faster, so I figured I'll just let him go by, and he'll pave the way for me. And I wish I kind of didn't now, because I would have been ahead of him after everything went down. But yeah, I'll take third, especially how we ran here in the spring. We were third and then got tangled up with a lap car, so I will definitely take it.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, you know, Alan, like I said, it seems like you're making yourself more comfy up here in the 3Y TV booth in these post-race interviews here as of late. You know, how are you going to be able to take that momentum that you've got here at the end of the season and what you've learned here in the second half of the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series season and roll that into next year?
Hopefully, you know, just keep doing what I've been doing. I've got a great group of guys behind me, Lee, Ed, John. Them guys really push me to be the best that I can. And as of late, I've just kind of been messing with my wheel settings, and I found something that's clicked for me. So hopefully we can finish the year off and make a run at it next year.
It's always interesting what just a little bit of tweaking of the steering wheel can do to find that feel. But definitely a strong run for you here tonight at Martinsville. Of course, we wrap up the season next week before we have the All-Star Showdown a couple weeks after that. What are your thoughts about Phoenix?
Hit or miss for me. I can either be really good there or really bad, so we will see what happens.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to that one. Same time, same place, right here on 3Y TV next week, Alan. Before I let you go, any shout-outs?
Yeah, Young Guns Creations for doing the paints all year. You guys in the booth, Jim and Sam for putting this on. The guys at LA Sim Sport and everyone that I race against. It's been a blast this year.
Definitely been a fantastic season and a fantastic last half of the season for you, Alan. Congratulations on your third place finish here tonight. And we'll see you next week to wrap up the season before we go to that All-Star race.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be right here, but 2 spots better.
All right. Well, folks, that was Alan Young finishing in the third position here tonight at Martinsville. But I believe that Mr. Greg Rentz is caught up with your second place finisher, the number 84 Mahan Speeds Laboratories machine of Woody Mahan.
And Woody, it was quite the adventure for you in the number 84, but we noticed you right around the halfway point. You were slowly working your way through the field, and before we knew it, you were up in the top 5. And tell us about the move on that restart to get to the inside after starting on the outside of Sam Crow, getting down in front of him to the door of Alan Young, because that was when we really saw for sure that you were making a charge for it.
Oh, well, the restarts have been the hardest part, and like I literally started outside the first 4 or 5 cautions, and I went straight backwards, so I knew it was time to be aggressive, and I had ran behind Sam a little bit, so I knew I was a little bit faster than him, so I just matted it and closed my eyes, hope it stuck.
And it definitely stuck on that one. Tell us about that battle at the end with Greg. as you were hanging back there, making runs, trying to get a move. You were up there going for that first win of the season, trying to get it done. Came up just a little bit short, but it was an incredible performance by you tonight.
Yeah, after the that last caution really kind of killed the momentum that I had. If it would have stayed green, I think at least I would have had a shot at him. The last restart, it was just hoping he made a mistake, trying to stay in his mirror a little bit and hoping I could get him to, lock up the fronts or come in a little too hot in the corner. That's all I was hoping for. But if we hadn't got the last caution, it would have been a lot, I guess, in my eyes, it would have been a lot better race.
Well, definitely a great one for you here tonight. Next week, one more shot to get it done. It comes at Phoenix, Arizona, the championship race, trying to rally and get yourself a win. Do you like what you got here at Phoenix next week?
Flat tracks, yeah, I like flat tracks. Let's go. I'm ready.
All right, heading to another flat track in the Arizona desert after here in the Commonwealth of Virginia tonight. Second place for you tonight here, Woody. Thank your sponsors.
We want to thank Mahan Speed Laboratories, the guys over at HPP for making a heck of a set of pedals. Congratulations to Brian. Got a baby boy on the way, the newest LPM member, and all the guys in the team too. Hang in there. We try to get to the front together.
Second place, Woody Mahan. Great performance from you tonight here at Martinsville. Congratulations.
Thanks, boys.
And I believe Peter Short has made his way down the victory lane, where for the 11th time this season, he's caught up with Greg Evans.
Yeah, I have caught up with the man who, like you said, has gone to victory lane for the 11th time this season. And it was a big night on multiple aspects for Greg Evans. Greg, I thought you were done there with about 50 laps to go when you were all wadded up in turn number 3 and 4 with a whole bunch of damage, but you battled back. And not only did you get win number 11, you picked up the 2020 SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship, as well as having a stranglehold on the point standings going to next week at Phoenix. What a crazy night for you. First off, let's go back to about 50 laps ago when you were involved in that accident. What was going through your mind, and how were you able to throw those thoughts out of your head for those final 50 laps and get the checkered flag?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure. Whenever it happened, I kind of panicked and thought, this is like the worst case scenario for us right now. But I knew the damage wasn't really bad, and I knew I hadn't used my tires up that I just put on. So I knew we still had a shot. I just had to take a deep breath and work our way up through there. We got that little bit of green flag run and made some desperate moves, I guess you could say. Hopefully I didn't, make anybody mad, but with everything that was on the line, the championship and the Wheelman Showdown, I had to go. And it just, with the cautions and the pit strategy that worked out from the guys in front of us, and I hated to see, Will and Tyler and Brian get into it there. But I mean, it just, I honestly think a lot of it was luck, because I don't know if I could have got by them. But man, it just, all I can say is it's blessed. I mean, it's just, everything just happened at the right time, and just kind of fell in our laps there in the last 30 laps.
Yeah, and you came into tonight 2 points behind Tyler Seville in the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown Championship. We both know that neither of you walked away with an incident-free race. We know that from looking at both of your cars. But a 4-point swing, that's enough to get you that SERVPRO Wheelman title. And you do have an option of 2 different steering wheels now that Sam Maxwell is going to trick out and make into a Sam Maxwell custom wheel. Tell us about that. I mean, that's a really cool price here tonight.
Absolutely. And I don't know what to say. I mean, I've been racing a long time at this, and never had prizes like's been offered in this series. I just can't thank those guys enough for putting this up. Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. There was times throughout the week where I'd be at work or just relaxing with my wife, and I would just think about the race for a second. My heart rate would go from like 60 beats a minute to 140, and I was like, oh man, this is not no fun. I mean, I can't imagine what the real guys go through with all the pressure and the playoffs. I mean, but dude, I'm so thrilled. Like I said, this race a couple times I thought it was over, but in the end, just really blessed, and like I said, everything just fell in my lap, and I can't wait to get that wheel. And dude, I don't even know what to say, honestly.
Well, hey, you got another big race next week. You're going for the big shebang, the 2020 Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series Championship. And with your strong run here tonight, you're definitely going to have a huge points lead going into Phoenix next week. I mean, it's going to have to take a lot for you to not walk away with the championship. This time, same place on 3 Wide TV next week. What are your thoughts about Phoenix? Is it a track that's been good to you in the past? Or, I mean, it's always one of those racetracks that's very polarizing. You either like it or you hate it.
Yeah, man, I really like it. I've always liked Phoenix. I've always ran good there. I definitely think we got a chance to go in there and win it. But at the same time, I don't know how the points are going to look. I know we're going to have a pretty good lead from what I've kind of gathered happening behind us. So it might be one of those races. I mean, you want to stay aggressive, but dude, I got to play it smart. If I can find a hole and just ride all night, that's probably what we'll do, and just kind of take what happens and take it as the rate, or take the race as it comes to us.
Yeah, it looks like a top 10 next week would ensure your championship here in the American Sim Racing Series Hacksaw PC Premier Cup Series. But Greg, definitely an amazing race for you here tonight. And I know you have a lot of sponsors that you want to thank that have gotten you to this point of the season.
Yeah, I've definitely got to thank Sure Tape and Duct Tape. They've been with me for a couple of years now. Freightliner and Detroit engines. iRacing, iFlag, Carolina Sim Works. My buddies at Steel Horse Racing. My teammates over here, John Van Varelis and Sam Crow. Sam Crow's actually my pastor, and man, he was keeping me pretty calm all night. So I got to thank him, and I've got to thank God first and foremost. And like I said, after everything we went through tonight, the only word I have is blessed. Man, I can't even fathom what has happened, and hopefully we can wrap it up next week.
Well, you have 7 days to process it all, and then we will do it all at Phoenix for the championship finale before, of course, we have kind of the season wrap-up, which is the All-Star race. Very much looking forward to that one as well, Greg. We'll let you go celebrate here tonight and get prepared for Phoenix this next week. Best of luck there, Greg.
Thank you, guys. And I forgot to mention, thanks to SERVPRO and Sam Maxwell Customs for doing that. And thank our series sponsor, Hacksaw PC. Dude, like I said, I've been racing a long time and never had prizes like this offered. And just thank you guys for broadcasting it, because like I said, when this race is broadcast every week, man, it just makes it so much more. It intensifies everything, and I love it. Thank you, guys.
All right, well, folks, that is Greg Evans. He's definitely going to go celebrate down there in Victory Lane with all of his teammates and all of his sponsors and all of that good stuff. And like he said, big shout out to SERVPRO for sponsoring the 2020 SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown. Make sure you check them out for all of any disaster that might pop up in life. They can help you clean it up. Definitely give them a shout when time comes. But Greg, man, what a crazy night here tonight at Martinsville. And the final finishing results here on your screen definitely look a lot different than they did with about 50 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You got the race win going to Greg Evans in the number 2, getting a stranglehold on it, moving forward here in Martinsville tonight with Woody Mahan. A big second place for him. Get some momentum into Phoenix next week. Alan Young and Tyler Seville, 3rd and 4th, with Jason Stewart able to rally for a top 5. Playoff driver Adam Jersky finishes second of the playoff drivers. That's big for him after the up and down day. Brian Yazik, Jordan Harnish, AJ Digby, Michael Whiting round out the top 10.
Finishing in the 11th position, the number 72 of Michael Krobach. He probably, first thing he did, got a new pair of underwear after that race. Almost involved in just about every single accident that we saw here tonight, but able to get that 11th place finish. Will Warser, your pole sitter here tonight, finishing down in 12th. Mark Myers in 13th. That's a good recovery for him. He was involved in an early accident. Jimmy McKee, one of your playoff drivers, coming home in 14th in the McKee Lawn Care Services Chevrolet. Jay Crable down in 15th. Troy Haight in 16th. Sam Crow, J.R. Bash, 17th and 18th. And what about John Jenkins? Involved in a late race accident. He's going to fall all the way down to 19th in the finishing order. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about John Jenkins on an absolute roll. And it definitely seems like the wheels have fallen off, unfortunately, for him. And John Van Varellis rounding out your top 20 there, Greg.
Coming home in 21st position was Tim Knott in the 41 after an up-and-down day. He finishes 54 laps down. Richard Stallings had the adventure as well. Cody Spiker, Richard Fletcher, and Kelsey Rogers rounded out the 25-car field.
Yeah, and as you see right down at the bottom of the screen there briefly, Greg Evans, 109 laps led. He led just over half of tonight's race. Goes to victory lane for the 11th time this season. Will he make it 12 wins on the season and the series championship next week? He picked up the SERVPRO Wheelman Showdown here tonight. And Greg, we've been doing this since February 11th of 2020. We've gone through this entire pandemic and all of this madness, but it all gets wrapped up next week before we go to that All-Star race a couple weeks after.
Yeah, looking forward to that here at the American Sim Racing Series, Hacksaw PC's Premier Series, down to just one more race. Hard to believe that another season has gone by here, Peter.
Yeah, definitely. It was great calling last year's season. It's been great calling this year's season. One more puzzle piece next week, same time, same place, right here at 9 o'clock Eastern on 3Y TV. Make sure you join us. Before we go, big shout out to Hacksaw PCs for sponsoring the Hacksaw PC's Premier Cup Series, as well as all of the other American Sim Racing Series sponsors. There's a link in the description where you can go check out those sponsors such as American Regardless, Midwest Simulations, Dirty Bird Sim Racing, amongst a lot of others, and SERVPRO, one of those. So make sure you go click that link, as well as we're going to give a shout out to our friends over at Sim TV for helping us out with the camera angles that we give you each and every week. But for myself, Peter Short, Carlos Acosta, and Greg Rentz, we'll see you guys for the championship finale. I'm looking forward to it. See ya.